concerned that this special meeting is ill-advised. I want you to know publicly that I believe this meeting is untimely, suspect, and any action taken in this meeting could possibly be interpreted as a result of violations of the Open Meetings Act. I want to call your attention to your agenda. It names no individual that you intend to appoint. No name is here. It just simply says a city attorney. I left Millington last week on Thursday to travel to Illinois with a clear understanding that the board intended to hold a work session to discuss several issues, not the least of which was the need and the process for filling the vacant city attorney's seat. Neither in the work session of January the 28th nor in the board meeting of February the 4th did the board discuss a particular candidate or candidates for this position. Neither did the board discuss a process for filling the position. Therefore, in my opinion, if the mayor or board considers and appoints an attorney tonight, it can certainly be assumed that discussions of this appointment may have taken place outside of the public's view. If so, the public, which has a right to know and a right to proper notice, has been intentionally denied. Certainly any appointment tonight will prevent the public from having the opportunity to provide reaction to the candidate, review of the candidate, and input regarding the candidate's qualifications or lack thereof. I want to remind board members, based upon what many of you have told me, that you ran your campaigns on a platform of transparency in government. You ran promising to reverse and change the practice of backroom politics and good old boy politics. The action proposed in this called meeting, in my opinion, would be a complete reversal of your promises. What I find especially disturbing with this whole issue is the apparent urgency to force the appointment of an attorney. Just look at the sequence of events. At the January 28th work session, to nearly everyone's surprise, certainly to mine, and I think to most of you, we received a testimony for an attorney candidate under the pretext of a report of the 385 corridor annexation study. In my opinion, that process lacked integrity and was unprofessional. But what was especially embarrassing to me was that it was highly improper and embarrassing for your long-serving attorney who was present and had absolutely no prior knowledge that that would occur. She later told me that she seriously considered walking out of the meeting, and quite frankly, she should have. A week later, prior to the February 4th board meeting, the mayor, without my knowledge, and I also suspect without your knowledge, attempted to change the agenda and place the appointment of an attorney thereon. And yet again, 1 week following the special meeting, the mayor calls a special meeting. All of this maneuvering in secret begs a serious question. Why is there this overwhelming urgency to appoint someone quickly? I certainly don't understand it. All of you know as well as I that there really is no compelling reason for a quick appointment. The board had clearly sent a message that there was no urgency, hence one of the original intended purposes of the work session tonight. If there was real urgency for an attorney services, the board would have taken action last week to extend temporary services of your existing attorney. And all of you, as I, have received emails from your old attorney offering to stay on and help with the transition. I have recommended to all of you publicly that the professional, transparent, and fair approach for filling this vacancy is to advertise and request letters of interest from all interested attorneys. Already last week, I received one such unsolicited letter from an area attorney who is already providing services to another city. What's wrong with conducting interviews for attorneys in public? What's wrong with this approach? What's wrong with Millington having the opportunity to review the qualifications of candidates and to review their fees, and then having the opportunity of selecting the best candidate. It would certainly give the public the proper notice and the opportunity to also review those candidates and provide you with valuable feedback and input prior to a vote. As for me, I have told you before, and I will tell you again, I have no candidate for attorney. I only prefer an attorney that knows municipal law. But I am very concerned about the process that's going on here, and you should be as well. Board members, your avowed intention that you've expressed to me and to the public to reverse this city's checkered past and to create an environment of honesty, transparency, and ethical conduct is going to be often tested. This is your first.
Thank you, Mr. Christie.
Mayor,
I'd like to say something too.
now I approach the board of all.
Yes, sir. Mr. Rowland.
I have given my life to this community. For an interloper to come in here and say that I staged a meeting is absolutely, positively untrue, and I'm calling his character into question.
Me too.
Let me tell you, the way it's set up at the county commission and any board that has a strong legislative and weak mayor form of government, the mayor always appoints and you either vote it up or down.
Absolutely.
Now that's the way it's run by every organization. Nobody puts RFPs out for an attorney. No one. And I take it I am highly offended by what this gentleman just said. Are you going to believe him who came from somebody else who sued the last city that he was at? Are you going to believe somebody that has given his entire life to this city? Now, I'm not sitting here just getting mad. I mean, I'm getting mad by the minute, Mayor. I ain't kidding you. Because anybody knows me that I am transparent as they come. And I'm going to look for an apology on that. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I'd like to speak.
I'm Louise Kennan, and I have been here a long time, and I'm offended by what he said, because it was said at the last meeting we would appoint an interim attorney. And the very fact that he's the first one who broke the rules when he had our previous attorney read an email that every one of our aldermen had received. That was a violation.
No, it was not.
Oh, it certainly was.
No, it was not.
Well, sir, that's your word against mine. Now, you've insulted this community. You have insulted our mayor. And as far as I'm concerned, if they want an interim, you need to be quiet, because you're not elected, you're hired. You work for me.
Ma'am, I recommended they appoint an interim last week.
Well, that's not your job. It's the mayor's. You need to take care of business and let the government run. You're an employee, and don't forget it, because you were the first one who violated the rules.
I did not violate any
Yes,
rules.
you did.
No, I did not.
Well, you can sit there all day. I'm not going to argue with you.
I would like to say, though, that I did invite somebody to come to the board to have on the, when was that, the January, at that one working session. I did ask him to come, I asked an attorney to come, so the board would have the opportunity to discuss anything, ask any questions. And that's the reason he was there.
But
Nobody else invited him.
It wasn't on the agenda, what I said, without my knowledge or anybody else's.
Well, anything can be added to the agenda, just like Mr. Huffman did tonight.
But it wasn't.
It was discussed that evening as a working session, and that's all it was a working session.
It was down
He was
for
introduced at that
385
time.
corridor annexation study report.
And we had that also.
Fire him.
And we have discussed this, and even if you want to talk about the last meeting, I asked you to take the name off and say, let's talk about appointing an interim. And you told me that Barbara Peters wanted her name on there.
I did not say that.
Yes, sir, you
No,
did.
I
You
didn't.
told me she sent that to you, and she wanted her name on there.
She
And
sent
I
it
talked
to
to
me.
her,
Yes,
and she
she
told me
did.
that you wanted her name on
No,
there.
that
So
is
somebody's
true.
not telling me the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
That's not true.
And the only reason I think we need an interim, besides Ms. Lapidus, is that Ms. Lapidus is too personally involved in all of this.
That's
She has
correct.
been from the beginning, and at this point, we need a new set of eyes, a fresh set of eyes to look at everything.
I don't argue with that, Mayor. What I'm talking about tonight, what I took a risk in telling the board tonight was that there's a proper way of going about this. One of the things I told this board when they interviewed, that one of my jobs was to protect them. If I didn't speak up tonight, and they took action that the public will perceive, and certainly could perceive as being a violation of the Open Meetings Act, then I'm not doing my job. Now, prior to this meeting, and we still don't know whose name will be on here, prior to this meeting, this board has not discussed a single candidate or candidates for attorney. How do you know who you're going to appoint tonight?
We nominate first, we open it for discussions. That's the way it always works.
And yet you have an attorney sitting in the audience just, what, out of accident?
No, he's actually going to be nominated, and hopefully it'll be opened up for
My
discussion.
very point, Mayor.
Just tell him to hush. He's out of order.
My very point.
I don't understand your point, because the very point is, well, I don't even want to go into.
My very point,
violations
Mayor,
of
is the
7.
public doesn't know and have a chance to provide this board with input regarding an attorney candidate. Don't you think they should? Do you not value
It's
the
going to be
public's
open for
mind?
discussion.
Do you not?
It's going to
You
be open
asked for
discussion.
comments before they even knew who you were going to be nominating.
And whose idea was that to
Not
start
mine.
the last meeting?
Not mine.
Yes, sir.
Gentlemen, can we move on?
Yes,
Yeah.
I don't know how you can.
I don't think
I
we
mean,
can.
just saying move on is, to me, is insulting to the idea of all of the discussion that's going on. It's clear that miscommunication is where we are.
Exactly
And
right.
we're not gonna get better by moving on.
Well, I know I haven't discussed with anybody on this board who's nominated, who's not nominated,
Neither have I.
quite frankly.
But the issue that Mr. Christie raised is not something that we should just poo-poo away, because it does matter if it gives the appearance that there has been. I haven't talked about a candidate with anyone, but if it's going to give the impression that we have, then it perpetuates the whole aura of backdoor politics that we all ran against. And that's what I hear him saying. I don't want him to have to defend himself against his honest comments. That's not fair. If that's his position, we can take it or leave it. But his job is to tell us the potential impact, and I don't want there to be personal feelings or directed at anyone, because I don't think you meant that for Commissioner Rowland.
No,
I don't think you meant that for him. I think that was directed to the agenda change
Exactly.
that was not approved. I don't think that was intended for anyone in particular, but the process that we followed or failed to follow. So we want to be sure that we are doing this in a way that is transparent, that will stand up under the scrutiny, that is sure to come. And I don't want to go into all the phone calls I've gotten this week about last week. And I know you've gotten. So understand, people are watching. And we want to make sure that we do what's right and not what's expedient.
And I don't think we're being expedient since our city attorney retired as of December 31st, and we still don't have a city attorney.
I understand.
But she
I don't
has
see
agreed to serve temporarily.
She has agreed to continue to serve.
And I told you my objection to that. If you want to go deeper into it, I can do that too.
No.
Yes, sir.
Mayor Jones, board, I had said I was never gonna get up here and say anything again, but remarks like checkered past and, Mr. McGee's to backdoor meetings and things like that, I'd like to know what administration are they referring to? Is it yours, mine, or Ms. Carter? I think y'all need to, if you're gonna start throwing that stuff out, name some names.
That's right.
Because my executive secretary is right here, and she can testify that I didn't make backdoor meetings and things like that. In fact, I didn't even have a door in my office, okay? That's how open it was. And you that were on the board, I'd answer any question y'all asked. I gave you a response. I didn't keep anything from anybody. So sort of try to, if you're going to say something in generalities, make sure that it's not about me. Because I had a complete open door policy, complete.
Mr. Hodges, if you heard what I said the perception of.
I know that.
I did not say that there was backdoor politics.
You said perception of backdoor,
Yes, sir.
and that's what y'all all ran against.
A
And
perception.
nobody